few months ago, our board chair from circa 2016 to circa 2020, Mark Achler, right here, showed up. Yes, he deserves applause. He took us through a hard 4 years, you guys. Showed up on a Friday night, like tonight, at Second Unitarian, just freshly back from a trip out west. Very energized, stars in his eyes, and told me about this trip. He will share it with you in a moment, to Silicon Valley, where he learned more about AI. And I said, wow, AI is something I have a lot of questions and concerns about. And I think I, and many people I know and love, don't feel super educated about this thing, but have a lot of feelings about it. Is this something you might want to talk about? And he said, why, sure, because he's game for anything. And he even offered to connect it to this week's Torah portion. So a few sentences about Mark before he starts. He's the managing director of Math Venture Partners, an early to mid-stage technology venture capital fund, and he is an adjunct lecturer of marketing at Northwestern's Kellogg School of Management. Mark teaches building innovation teams and cultures. He is a serial entrepreneur who started 4 companies, managed 3 venture funds, and was the head of innovation for Redbox, as well as an early employee of Apple. And I confirmed this today. I sort of remembered that he had told me once that he had this idea of creating the high holidays of Apple, which was their original launch, like that big innovation launch thing where they unveil their new products. I said, wait, did you tell me that was your idea? And in fact, that was Mark Achler's idea.
Yeah.
The high holidays of Apple.
We didn't quite phrase it that way, but right.
That was how you told me. Just,
Okay.
You know your audience.
Right.
He is the co-author of Exit Right, How to Sell Your Startup, and has a popular podcast on the Noteworthy Network, The Real Work with Mark Achler. He's a frequent speaker, resource, and ardent champion for the entrepreneurial community. He is a mentor for Techstars and several other entrepreneurial organizations. He thinks he has a fun and eclectic career, and his wife thinks he can't hold a job. All a matter of perspective. That's right. Is she here? Did she make it?
No, her plane was late. I know.
Bummer. Well, the good news is we have Christina here to video. So, hi, Marcy. Tonight, he has taken his eclectic interests into the realm of understanding the emergence and impact of AI on his field and others. I thought it would be interesting to hear his perspective on what he's seeing out there, what's coming down the pike, what is our place in it. I feel like this is the opening conversation of what is for sure not going to be the last time we talk about this. So thank you, Mark, for being, the first.
And thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sorry to have my back to you guys here. Okay.
I want to make sure everyone can hear you, so just speak right into it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So thank you. So this week's Parsha is all about AI. What? You don't think that they had AI when the Torah was written? So, hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Mark Achler, one of the former board chairs at Mishkan, an entrepreneur and venture capitalist. I'll skip that since you already covered it.
I did, but do you want this higher so you don't have to hold it? Because we can actually make this.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good, but thank you. Thank you.
I'll stop it.
I've always been intensely interested in anticipating the future direction of tech. Some might say the bleeding edge, and I certainly have my share of scar tissue to prove it. Rabbi Lizzie asked if I'd share some of what I've learned over the past few years in my travels throughout the country. I also really wanted to relate it to the Parsha, and we'll get there. First things first, let's talk about embracing the uncomfortable and change. Show of hands, including out there in Zoom land. How many of us use AI on a regular basis or every once in a while for a task? Raise your hand. Wow, very cool. Okay. How many have never tried it? Raise your hands, no shame, right? Wow, this is a savvy crowd here. Okay. How many of us fear AI? Yeah, okay, got it. And a slightly different question. Raise your hand if you're just uncomfortable with change. Okay, all right, okay. And change is hard, I understand, and we're about to go through some really rapid change. So let me start with, I learned a lot of lessons from my father of blessed memory. One of my favorite lessons was how he embraced his curiosity and leaned into learning new things. My dad was an engineer and the prototypical nerd with a pocket protector in his shirt and a slide rule at his ready. He was horrified when calculators first appeared. If you didn't use a slide rule, how were you really going to understand the mathematical concepts behind the numbers? Sound familiar about AI and homework today? But with a glint in his eye and his typical bulldog fashion, he jumped in and taught himself to program the first programmable TI calculators. He soon was writing estimating programs for engineers, and within a couple of years, asked me to be his partner. And in 1981, we opened one of the first Apple computer retail stores in the country. He loved learning, and it opened all sorts of new opportunities for him that he never could have imagined, and for me. So, the Parsha begins with Moses assembling the entire community of Israel. At this point, the people have been in the desert for almost 5 months after leaving Egypt. They've been through the ordeal of the building of the golden calf, a rift that shook the community to its core and required God, or the character of God, to quote Rabbi Lizzie, to give the people a concrete project to work on to not only keep them busy, but to keep them focused on their shared values. Shared values. Moses emphasizes the importance of keeping the Sabbath and then calls for contributions of materials and skills to build the Mishkan, or the tabernacle. The people respond with overwhelming generosity, each contributing what they can, from donating half a shekel each to giving precious metals to skilled labor, and they construct a home worthy of the divine. This collective effort underscores a timeless truth. When a community, even one that includes disagreements about big topics and even historical rifts, when that community unifies with a shared purpose, it can achieve extraordinary things. In this political moment, for a community like ours, it might be hard to feel like our actions matter, whether as individuals or as a collective. The powers that be are acting at such a rapid pace that we can't keep up, let alone counteract the undoing of so many dimensions of our country that we've come to take for granted. Back in 2016, when Trump first started making executive orders targeting different minority groups, me and my wife, Marcy, joined a group of Mishkanites who helped resettle a Syrian family who were fleeing the Assad regime. 9 years later, they are all citizens of this country, deeply grateful to the Jews who worked together to help them make their homes here. Our lives, my family, our lives are far deeper and richer through our friendship with them. Margaret Mead said, "Never underestimate the power of a small group of committed people to change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." So even in a moment like this, where we might be led to feel despair, it's that much more important to lean into community and to remember what we can both get and give as an active member of our community. We are in a bipolar world where many leaders try to heighten our passions with fear, and there is a lot to be worried about. But at Mishkan, we prefer to lead with hope, optimism, and joy. That is part of what makes this community so special. We need one another today more than ever. All right, so the second part of the Parsha is about tools. So let's talk about the topic at hand, artificial intelligence. A major theme of this parsha is the use of tools and skills within the community to construct the tabernacle. In today's world, one of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal is artificial intelligence. But what exactly is AI? Should we ignore it, be afraid of it, or embrace it, or all three? I'm going to try to speak to all of it. So full transparency, before I start, the way I described Mishkan earlier, with optimism and joy, that tends to be me and how I approach this conversation about AI. So I'm going to approach it with interest, curiosity, enthusiasm, and caution in that order. I'll tell you why, and I'll also say we're still at the very beginnings of our collective experiences. Oh, it helps when I do that. Our experiences with AI. It's not only early, but the pace of change is staggering. I don't think we have ever experienced anything like this adoption curve of weeks instead of years and decades. There's so much we don't know and much to be cautious about. But I want to start with why I think it's exciting. So what is AI? And I apologize, some of you are really familiar with this, some of you are not. I'm going to give a basic overview. So artificial intelligence, or AI, refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think and learn like humans. These systems can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision-making, and language translation. AI encompasses various technologies, including machine learning, natural language processing, and robotics. Bless you. As an adjunct professor at Kellogg, last year there was a call out for ideas for a Levy inspiration trek to take students to an area of interest. I came up with the idea of doing a trip to San Francisco on all things AI. We had 12 spots, and over 120 students applied. It was such an incredible trip. I wish you were there. We spent 3 full days completely immersed in all things AI. We met with the chief legal counsel for OpenAI, the head of cybersecurity for Google, the head of reporting on AI for the Wall Street Journal, some of the top VCs who invest in the leading AI companies, and over 24 entrepreneurs building the latest AI companies. Mind blown. It was a dream trip and opportunity, and they actually paid me to do it. So what did we learn? So here's some examples, and by no means is this an exhaustive list, just a sampling of what AI is and what it can do. So AI has the potential to revolutionize numerous aspects of our lives. Here's a few examples. Healthcare. AI can analyze medical data to diagnose diseases, predict patient outcomes, and recommend personalized treatment plans. It can also assist in medical imaging and robotic surgery. And let me share an interesting story. We heard a study that compared the diagnosis rates of 1, a human doctor, 2, a human doctor paired with AI, and 3, just the AI alone. The human doctor was right 73% of the time. They were given the same set of circumstances. The human doctor paired with the AI was right 75% of the time. And the AI alone was right 92% of the time. But that doesn't kind of make sense. Like, why would the AI and the doctor, why wasn't it only just a small improvement? And it turns out the human doctor when he or she was paired with the AI, the human bias for being right was so strong that the human overrode the AI and went with their own judgment, reducing their accuracy in diagnosing. Interesting. Education. AI-powered tools can provide personalized learning experiences, adapt to individual student needs, and offer instant feedback. And it never gets tired. It never gets frustrated. It never gets bored, right? They can also automate administrative tasks, allowing educators to focus more on teaching. Transportation, self-driving cars powered by AI have the potential to reduce traffic accidents and improve mobility for those who cannot drive. AI can also optimize public transportation systems and manage traffic flow in cities. When we were in San Francisco, we took Waymos. Anybody here take a Waymo? A couple of people? Do you know what a Waymo is? A Waymo is a car that's totally AI that has not only, in a Tesla, the Tesla has software that allows it to drive automatically. This doesn't even have a driver in the front seat. There's no driver in the front seat. It was amazing and a little disconcerting. Customer service. AI chatbots can handle customer inquiries, provide support, and improve overall customer satisfaction. They can operate 24/7 and handle multiple queries simultaneously and in multiple languages seamlessly. By integrating AI into our communities, we can harness its potential to enhance our collective efforts and achieve goals that were once unimaginable. All right, so let me give you a real-world example from a company that I'm on the board of. This company was launching a new product to sell into large corporations. They wanted to reach out to all the executives at each Fortune 500 company. So put yourself in this mindset, right? Here's the task at hand. You have to, let's see. They wanted to reach out to all the executives. They asked AI to find the name, title, and contact information for every executive in every Fortune 500 company. Push a button, done. Then, to comb through each person and see what articles or social media posts they have made in the past year. Done. Then, to craft a personalized email to each person that talks about what that person cares about, referencing all their posts, and tie it to the company's new product launch. Whole process done in minutes with significantly better results. Can you imagine how long that would have taken a series of human beings to do? Months, right? If they could do it at all. So, here's my question. How might we use these tools in ways in which we can build stronger connections between us? How might we? How could we use this proactively to reach outside of our community to find allies? In this room tonight, there are people from outside of our community or tangentially in relationship with us. How do we find more allies? The truth is, it's almost impossible to predict the future. Just think, let's use a phone. Just think of a landline rotary phone to a simple cell phone to what we have today in all of our pockets. Impossible to conceive, impossible to ignore, and full of extreme benefits and equally extreme problems, like screen addiction and poor social skills. So, is AI something to be embraced or feared? The answer is yes. Both. AI is just a tool, just like a hammer. A hammer can be used to build something amazing, like a tabernacle, and it can be used to kill. Another example of a tool is social media. It can be used to foster amazing connections, and it can be used to sow fear and distrust and topple governments. Personally, I got off all social media in 2018. Now, it's true, I do miss seeing pics of your latest dinner, but I feel that the current owners of our major social media tools are managing their platforms irresponsibly. So much so that I didn't want to support or be associated with it. Like all tools, we need to understand it to be able to manage it better. Look, AI will save lives and do heroic things, like in healthcare. AI was going to be able to help us create personalized drugs, not generic drugs, drugs to our specific DNA, each individual person. And it is a minefield of ethical questions. So, for example, can the AI ingest copyrighted materials without permission? Personally, I don't believe that's right. I think intellectual property laws need to be enforced. The environmental impact that powering all these computers will have on our environment. Have you been reading about the rush back to nuclear energy? Large tech companies like Microsoft are now building their own smaller nuclear reactors because to power AI requires immense amounts of energy. Drone warfare. This week, I don't know if you guys saw this, did you read this week in Ukraine, there was a battle fought by the Ukrainians entirely by drone? This is real science fiction come to life, and some seriously scary stuff with deep implications for our future. In some ways, it feels like the beginning of World War I when some armies were fighting with cavalry up against tanks and machine guns. And what about fake videos that only an expert can tell were AI generated and not the real person? The potential for damage is real, and these are not hypothetical scenarios. All of this is happening today and at breakneck speed. Should we let Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg have free rein and control our destinies without any government oversight? And don't even get me started about Elon's role in government as an unelected official. How can we trust those who significantly profit from excess to police themselves? Hey, we live in Chicago. We've read The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. We know what happens when unsupervised greed is left unchecked. Why in the world will we imagine that this technology will be stewarded responsibly by those in power and who benefit the most from it? The post-World War II golden age of Judaism is rapidly evolving and changing from right underneath us. The rules of how we govern ourselves are changing as we speak. 20 years ago, could you imagine that every Jewish gathering would need to be protected by armed guards? We have an armed guard here. Tonight's Parsha, written millennia ago, rings as true tonight as when it was first received. That we live in a perilous and ever-changing world, and that we are always stronger together and capable of doing incredible things as one people. AI is here whether we like it or not. It will be increasingly woven into the fabric of our lives. I would urge us to be both open to the benefits and to utilize it creatively, all the while remaining vigilant in understanding its potential impact and the importance of both business and governmental accountability and oversight. All right, so what does oversight mean? Honestly, I don't know anymore, but I sure wouldn't want to eat a hot dog from the turn of the 20th century. I wish I could give you more than stay vigilant. Demand more from your politicians, form advocacy groups, make your voice heard. My father infused in me a sense of curiosity, hope, and the willingness to experiment. I am optimistic by nature. I'm an entrepreneur. As we navigate the challenges and opportunities of the modern age, let us remember the lessons of our ancestors and strive to build communities that are united for all the collective impact we can make. Innovative, because Jews have always embraced new frontiers. Compassionate, because Jewish communities orient themselves around taking care of people. And joyful, because, hey, life is hard, and it's essential to find those delicious nuggets of joy, especially in these days. Shabbat Shalom.